In the beginning, there was one Doug Hines.
Go home, Dougie.
Then there were two.
Well, who are you? Aren't you?
Then there was this sighting of three Doug Hines in 1983. And last September, we saw four Doug Hines.
Woke up this morning feeling pain.
There couldn't possibly be another Doug Hines. Could there be?
DJ! Yeah! I'm Doug Hines.
I turn the lights down low to get my favorite show and watch the best face on TV. Doug is on the tube, so keep yourself glued to DJ. Yeah, the ants.
Welcome to another episode of All Nostalgic Television, and welcome to the secret hidden underground ant cave, along with the Wayback Time Machine. I'm your television jockey, Doug Heim. Yes, that was my son, and you know, just like every parent on television with kids, you have to show your kids off on TV. And by the way, my son is happy, healthy, successful, and has never had any interest in the television industry other than watching it. And the same is true with this episode's special Ant Cave guest. He too had no desire to be in television. You are about to see and hear the best BS to ever come out of the Ant Cave.
Storm Center 2, keeping you ahead of the storm.
Is that what you do, Jeff? Just to conserve energy?
I don't have AC, Brad.
You don't have air conditioning? Yikes, you'll be spending the night here at work. It's not the heat, it's the humidity. I'll have to check it. I don't think there's any tips for keeping cool in there.
And one thing we can be sure of about Wisconsin weather, there's nothing you can be sure of about Wisconsin.
That's right, but you never can tell.
Brad Spakowitz.
Brad Spakowitz.
Brad Spakowitz.
Hello, I'm Brad Spakowitz.
Depend on Brad Spakowitz. Brad Spakowitz. Brad Spakowitz.
Okay, this is kind of a fun job.
That winter storm system, which passed through our area yesterday, rather.
Brad Spakowitz, our new weekend weatherman, is...
This area, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, is moist, and as a result, we're going to be seeing cloudy skies through tomorrow and plenty of snow, or not plenty of snow, some light snow.
Thank you once again. By the way, there's something really cool happening. But hey, check out the 70s over there. Are those buzzards up there? I'm sorry it was a rainy day today. Not that it was my fault.
Itsy bitsy teeny tiny.
If we could only be so lucky tonight. When I was little, I did not want to be a weatherman. I wanted to be a paperback writer.
How many Beatles titles of their songs you can come up with during your forecast?
Would you like a ticket to ride? No? Hey, Jude, would you like a ticket to ride? Here comes the sun. You know, I love this business. Live TV is my life. I live for moments like this.
And I live for moments like this. That's right, Brad Spakowitz, the best BS to ever come out of the Ant Cave. Brad will be joining me right here shortly. So let's get things started with the first clue to this episode's mystery picture. And to do that, you know the routine. You are looking at a 1978 extreme close-up of something, but what? See if you can figure out what it is. I'll slowly zoom out and give you clues throughout the episode, and I'll give you the answer at the end. You are looking at something that is made of synthetic latex. In ancient times, these things were made using animal bladders and intestines until 1824. Then, an inventor named Michael Faraday reinvented them using the substance caoutchouc, otherwise known as natural rubber. And no, it's not a garbage bag. More clues coming later. And boy, the best BS to ever come out of the Ant Cave, Brad Spakowitz.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. I can't believe this place. It's like amazing. And a great collection of, well, now some of them are antiques.
This is nostalgic stuff.
Those were the days, my friend. They're far different today.
Yeah. So, Brad, where were you born?
I'm a local. Grew up just outside of Green Bay in the country. One sibling, sister who is a year younger, but my parents were foster parents, and over the course of their career, they had over 170 foster children coming and going in the house. So it was an interesting way to grow up.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Did you watch a lot of television growing up?
Yeah, I did watch a lot of TV.
How influenced were you?
I think I was very fascinated with the technology, for sure. I certainly had my favorite shows, one of which was Star Trek, which is interesting because actually that TV show had a big influence on my life. It was amazing to me that somewhere, someplace, somebody has the equipment that they are sending something invisible through the air, and your television can pick it up and then decipher it and recreate what is being broadcast. And the big amazing thing to me about that, Doug, is how early on they could do it with primitive technology.
So, what'd you want to be when you grew up?
Most importantly, I wanted to be an astronaut. Okay, because it was the 1960s and space was everywhere and it was everything, the big space race then. I have stacks of photographs from the 1960s that NASA would send you. You could just write and say, hey, could I please have a picture of this astronaut or this spacecraft or whatever, and they'd send them to you. Beautiful color, sometimes even actual glossy photos. But I knew at that point in time that if you wanted to be an astronaut, you needed to be a little guy. I mean, at that time, spacecraft, even today, every single ounce costs a lot of money to get it up off the planet.
Sure.
But you needed to be less than 5'8" tall. You had to be like a ridiculous weight for a man, about 130 pounds, 140 pounds. You had to have perfect vision. I was already wearing glasses, so I knew I was instantly, I didn't know how tall I'd grow up or how much I would weigh, but the glasses thing was, the killer there. So interested in the space program, wanting to be an astronaut, knowing I wouldn't qualify, and then all of a sudden this TV show Star Trek appears, which really drew me in. Side note, since then, how many different incarnations of Star Trek, how many movies, how many comics? Maybe I saw something nobody else saw. I'm just saying, in my own defense.
Sure.
But that show sparked me in two ways. One, because I thought that it had a very good message about humans and where we could go and what we could be and who we should be, what our true capacity as human beings is. But second of all, I was really fascinated by the special effects. It was something you'd never seen before. And that really intrigued me. And that's when I really started getting interested more so into film and photography. And that's sort of how my career unfolded.
So now you're a young kid enthralled with this TV show, Star Trek. What happened after that?
Well, I brought a prop, may I? This came into my life. For those of you who don't know what this is, it's an 8mm camera, okay? And it was old when I got it, but I was probably about 12 years old. It's a crank-up camera. It didn't run on batteries. You could roll off your film, okay? But the big thing about this camera is it also has the ability to do single frames, so you could do animation. And having known that 8mm film moves at 16 frames per second, I thought, even though Standard 8 did not have a soundtrack, but I did have a recorder, just a regular magnetic recording machine at that time, that if I would take a song and chart it out by how many seconds it would take for certain words to appear in a song or whatever, and calculate that to 16 frames per second, that I could make short little animations that would be synchronized with music. So that's how that started. And once I got interested in that, I also became interested in still photography and, again, some special effects and manipulations with images, at that time done with analog film and in the darkroom, today done very easily in Photoshop and other digital programs and such. So,
And then at some point you were where when you got a call and got a job at TV 11?
I was a communications major at UWGB, and that included photography, graphic design, and essentially feature story writing. And the photography professor at that time, his name was Jerry Dell, and just by chance, it was would have been the autumn of 1980, said, hey, I heard that WLUK has an opening for a photographer. I don't know if you're interested, but you might want to check it out. And I did check it out. And I had an interview with Pat Crollo, who was the assignment editor at that time at WLUK. I brought him my portfolio of pictures. He looked at it. He said, okay, we'll give you a chance. And it was only a few weeks and somebody left, and I got hired as a part-time photographer. Now, there were a couple of problems, Doug. I had never shot videotape, and I knew very little about shooting news stories.
You're going to have to learn now.
Right? Sue Hartung was the chief photographer then, and I remember her giving me the camera, and she said, "Okay, do you remember zebra bars to adjust your, the brightness, how the picture should be not composed, but just so it's not overexposed, underexposed." So she helped me with that, and it was Steve Brenzel, who everybody knows as Ned the Dead.
Or what?
Yeah, right. He was a news photographer as well, and I remember very distinctly him teaching me how to shoot a sequence. And for those who don't understand what a sequence is say, for example, you have an interview with a woman who's knitting something, okay? So you'll want an establishing shot of her knitting. Then you want a close-up of just her face. Then you want a close-up of just the hands knitting, because you're going to need these pieces to cover up what would otherwise be edits between the sound bites.
Yep.
Okay? So that's how it started. I started as a news photographer. I did that for a year. In fact, I was just watching one of your other episodes. It might have been, I think it was episode 4, the Barney episode.
Oh, yeah.
With about Sky Scoop,
Yep.
the helicopter. And it's still amazing.
That's right.
Doug, it amazes me when you think back that at one point in time in Green Bay television, you had Channel 2, Channel 5, and Channel 11 with news helicopters. You had 3 stations with news helicopters. I mean, even today, that's unthinkable.
That's overkill already.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But it was such a vicious battle to have be the #1 rated TV station.
The 1980s. Listen, that was the golden age of TV news, where it was discovered that there was a lot of money to be made in news. It was a good time to be in the TV news business.
So you're in all this news stuff, and all of a sudden, where do you become a weatherman?
Okay, it's kind of an interesting story. The weatherman at that time was a man named Gary Childress. He was brought in part of the new team. It was the Nancy Bruce, John Natelli, Daryl Burnett era. Okay. I got to be good friends with Gary, the meteorologist. You know, as a news photographer, you're not always out shooting news, especially in the evenings. I'd just be hanging out in the newsroom waiting to see if there was breaking news. And I just started talking to Gary and everything. And I was always interested in science to begin with. And I think Sue Davies was doing weekend weather at that time.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, and Gary said, I think that Susan's going to be leaving Weekend News. She's going to be doing more reporting. He says, you should try out for the job. I said, I know nothing about weather. He said, well, I'll work with you, and we'll get you going. So I would stay after the 10 o'clock news, and Gary would help me put up the maps, rehearse in front of a camera and everything. You know, it's sort of like you get a job, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, I need to learn something here.
Yeah.
And I did. I instantly enrolled in an intro-level course at UWGB. Joe Moran was the professor at the time. And then, as things progressed, when Gary left a couple years later, I was offered the main job. And in fact, Bob Schultz was the news director at that time, and he was the one who offered me the job. But there was a little bit of a stipulation, because I was incredibly young, and in fact, that was part of the problem. They were very worried about my youth compared to who I was up against in the market. So one of the things, they insisted on how you would comb your hair and how you would act and present yourself and all of those things. And they did some coaching, which was great. I mean, for a beginner, you need that.
You went on camera for the very first time being a weatherman. What was it like for you?
Scary as heck. What can I say?
Here now is Brad's very first weathercast on live TV.
One glove off and touch a piece of metal and a little frostbite there.
Yeah, it's easy for that to happen right now, especially
when it's this cold.
That's right. Let's take a look and see what's happening outside currently in northeastern Wisconsin right now. Our temperature is at 20 degrees. The relative humidity is at 36%. The winds are out of the west at 15 miles per hour, and the barometer is at 30.19 and is rising. That winter storm system, which passed through our area yesterday, has moved into the Ohio Valley and is bringing much the same type of weather there that we had. As a matter of fact, they're receiving between 1 to 3 inches of snow, winds up to 45 miles per hour. Needless to say, just like what we had. As a matter of fact, winter storm warnings are in effect for that region for tonight. A little bit closer to home, however, we had a pretty nice day. We had plenty of sunshine. However, the winds continued out of the northwest, and as a result, we had some blowing snow, and that will continue through the night. As a matter of fact, travelers' advisories are in effect for much of the Midwest tonight. Some good news is a high-pressure cell, which is located in the central Great Plains states. It's going to be keeping our skies sunny through the majority of tomorrow. And it's also going to be giving us a wind shift so that our winds will be coming out of the southwest, and as a result, our temperatures are going to be warming up a few degrees. We can expect to see daytime high temperatures tomorrow of around 0 degrees. Now, as this high-pressure cell moves to the east, it's going to be pulling some some moisture from the Gulf States region up inland and mixing with colder air, and it's going to be producing some cloud cover that we'll see in our area by tomorrow afternoon. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at that state map now and see how conditions will be like at tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. First of all, let's take a look at tonight's low temperatures. They're on the cold side. We're going to see lows from 20 to 30 degrees below zero for the entire state and the UP as well. Skies will remain fair by tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and continue through the day. However, notice there's some cloud cover approaching from the west, and the winds will be shifting to the southwest throughout the day. As the day progresses, we can expect to see temperatures warming up then, so that our daytime high temperatures will be around zero. By tomorrow at 6 p.m., we can expect to see cloud cover over Minnesota, Wisconsin, in through the UP. And again, that wind has shifted to the southwest. As a result, daytime high temperatures warming back up. Let's check that specific forecast now. For Monday, cloudy and warming up a little bit more. Chance for some light snow. It won't be any heavy accumulations, probably just a nice light dusting. High temperatures will be from 0 to 10 degrees below zero. And Tuesday, pretty much the same, a little bit warmer, 12 to 20 degrees. So it's getting warmer, getting better.
Warmer. 10 degrees is warmer. One thing I want to explain is that Sue Davies has gone on to our 5 o'clock show. She is now reporting full-time there, and that open up the door for you to move into your favorite pastime and hobby here?
That's right. It's certainly a welcome break. You know, I've grown up at Channel 11. I'm from this area all my life, so...
Out in Pulaski there, your family's...
That's right. So being a part of the news team is really important, really special.
Well, it's a thrill to have you here. I'm glad you're with us, Brad. Thank you.
But then they brought in this AccuWeather team, which is essentially an outside forecast service that they paid.
Day after day, you make important decisions based on the weather conditions. What to wear, when to plant and harvest, and how to plan for travel, recreation, and outdoor sports. The fact is that much of your life is controlled by weather conditions. You need an accurate forecast. AccuWeather is here, working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. AccuWeather is recognized as one of the leading forecasting services. 51 experienced meteorologists use state-of-the-art technology to collect and analyze weather data up to 5 hours faster than conventional forecasters. Teamed with AccuWeather, News Center 11's Brad Spakowitz reacts at a moment's notice to give
Back
you
then, it was a special, the equivalent of a fax machine today. Worked very different. Stunk to high hell. I don't know how it worked, but it was bad, okay? But you get, the sheets off, and they give you your weather maps, they give you your forecast, and other materials to help explain what's going on. And you'd sit down just on the phone, and you'd have probably a 20-minute conversation with a degreed meteorologist. And I learned a lot that way because you could ask a lot of questions, but they'd go over all the maps with you and explain why this is happening and what's going to happen next.
Hello, I'm Brad Spakowitz. I grew up here, just outside of Green Bay, and having lived in Wisconsin all my life, I know firsthand what kind of weather winter can bring. Whether it's a major winter storm, tricky travel, or the brutal cold, my AccuWeather forecast will help you prepare and then keep you informed.
This winter and all year round depend on the most accurate and up-to-the-minute weather forecast in northeastern Wisconsin. Brad Spakowitz and AccuWeather on News Center 11, on the move for you.
You can give a forecast that says partly cloudy, but what does that really mean? Does that mean cloudy in the morning? Does that mean cloudy in the afternoon? Does that mean constantly partly cloudy? What does it mean? Where you could give a forecast that say partly cloudy, you could say after around a morning sun, look for afternoon clouds. Now you know what to expect. There's a big difference.
I think before you, the weathermen gave the weather, but you made it weathertainment.
There were times I would try to be credible, but at the same time provide some entertainment, okay? And I had some good times with that. The biggest challenge to me has always been just, like I said, that whole partly cloudy, morning sun, afternoon clouds, much more descriptive. Lay out a forecast in the order of the unfolding of events, because every story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So let's start with right now. Here's what's happening off to the west. It's coming in. It's going to arrive tomorrow. This is what it's going to do for us. Oh, and by the way, in 2 days from now, look way up over there. That is going to be here. And that's going to do this to us. So we have a really busy weather pattern. Here's your forecast beginning with tonight. That's really how you do it.
Awesome, man.
I'll be honest with you. I hate live television. I wish everything could be recorded. And part of it is the pressure I put on myself. I freely admit I'm a perfectionist. And in live television, a lot of things can and usually do go wrong. And you have to deal with it in a live situation, and that's not always covered well. But when you can tape it, you can do it a million times if you want to until you get it exactly the way you want it.
How about some current temperatures? Well, still quite mild. It's 55 now at Shawano. And whoops, well, I'm not real sure where they went. Well, you know, I love this business. Live TV is my life. I live for moments like this. This air, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, is moist, and as a result, we're going to be seeing cloudy skies through tomorrow and plenty of snow, or not plenty of snow, some light snow.
I hadn't seen any of this stuff in decades, literally. But when I saw that first weathercast, I wanted to climb under a rock. It was very rough. It really was.
You also put a lot of input in your graphics and getting the viewers involved by asking them to send in photos and slides.
I like to engage viewers and have them feel a part of it, and if viewer contributions in one way or another are available, that's great.
You know, we're doing something a little bit different right now. We're collecting slides from you viewers out there. So if you have a favorite photo or slide, you can send it to us and we'll use it during our weather segment.
What happened on that event where Willard Scott was filling in for you?
Okay, this was with the advent of AccuWeather. I needed to go out to Pennsylvania, where AccuWeather was headquartered, to meet them. So they didn't have a weather person at that time to fill in. So they actually asked if Willard Scott could pre-record one or maybe two weather forecasts. I remember he said something about, I'll toss it back to the lovely Nancy, who was Nancy Bruce, the anchor at that point in time.
Hello, Green Bay. Welcome to Bay Window. And also Appleton and the Fox Valley and all the good people up there. You know, when Brad found out that he was going to meet with AccuWeather today, he called old Uncle Willie to find out if I could fill in for him on the show. Well, since I couldn't come to Green Bay in person, I will use the magic of videotape to explain the weather for tonight and tomorrow. And you better bundle up and bring the cat in, because you can expect some cool rain later on tonight or early tomorrow morning. Low temperature is going to get down to 43 degrees, and that's chilly. And speaking of chilly, be a great menu to have tomorrow night, because it's going to be cool up there. A little chilly, lots of beans, nice big old beefy, and some, oh my soul. Anyway, cloudy and showers tomorrow. The high temperature only about 50 degrees. And if that changes, my name is Mud. Well, Brad's going to be back tomorrow, and beginning next Monday, he and AccuWeather will start bringing you the most reliable, accurate forecasts around. And now, here's the lovely Nancy with the weather calendar.
Willard, the man has such good taste, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was quite nice of him to do that.
When did you start going to schools and talking to students and kids about weather and stuff? How'd that all come about?
Well, that certainly started early on in the career when I first started at WLUK. School talks and public appearances are certainly part of that business. And in fact, I remember distinctly one year I did 52 school talks, which is a lot if you pile that on top of working, 2 in the afternoon till 11 at night or later if there's weather going on. But yeah, it's pretty much from the time you wake up.
Well, one time you told the kids you were from Mars?
That sounds like, I don't remember it, but it sounds like something I'd say.
That's all you can tell me?
Well, it really is. I'm sure that I just blathered forth a bunch of silliness, just trying to make kids laugh.
I'm actually starting to think you are from Mars.
Well, maybe.
It's time for another clue to this episode's mystery picture. This is a 1978 extreme close-up of something that's made from latex. In ancient times, they were made of animal bladders and intestines. In 1824, they were reinvented using natural rubber. Here are some more clues. In 1874, they were first mass-produced using vulcanized rubber. Then, the modern latex version appeared in 1931. During the 1930s, they gained popularity among magicians and entertainers as they turned them into an art form. More clues and the answer coming later. After 5 years as weatherman on TV 11, in 1987, shortly after Brad wrote a book on weather, he was let go from WLUK.
WLUK at that time in the 1980s was a very turbulent time. They were owned by the Post Corporation. I think that they were owned by one other company, and then they were owned by, ultimately, Burnham Broadcasting was the name of the company. It was a startup company out of Chicago, some big-time investors. They brought in some high-powered individuals to essentially turn the station around, make it bigger, better, which is fine. That's the way business works, right? But unfortunately, there are casualties. I was one of the casualties there because they did a little bit of a house cleaning. The timing was not good. First of all, I had just written this book on weather and had worked to help secure a sponsor to have them published. We wanted to give these books out free. So suddenly I'm let go. We have these literally cases of the books sitting in the back room. I thought, okay, I spent all this time working on this book. This is never going to go anywhere. I'm out of a job. What am I going to do? It was a trying time.
Well, when you got fired at TV 11, the people, the audiences, they rebelled. Here are actual comments from the People's Forum. I object to the action taken by WLUK. The day he leaves, I quit watching Channel 11. An end to Brad will be an end to Channel 11 weather viewers. If this action is taken in hopes to raise WLUK's ratings, it won't.
Ultimately, I was offered a job instantly by 2 other stations in Green Bay, so I was never really out of work.
In 1987, Brad becomes a meteorologist for WBAY TV2. But 7 years later, in 1995, Brad decides to leave his hometown. So you got fired in 1987 from TV 11, and then you were in Milwaukee? What am I missing here?
Okay, so I always tell everybody it was like the 7-year thing. I was at WLUK for 7 years. I was at WBAY for 7 years. Had the 7-year itch. Got a phone call from Milwaukee. Don Schaefer was the news director down there. He had just finished his career at WLUK, so he had been watching me over on 2 as one of the competitors. And when he was hired down there in Milwaukee to start up, they'd never done news at WDJT, that's CBS 58. And he said, we're going to be the little guy on the block, and if you really want to make an impression, you have to do one of 2 things. You have to be either incredibly better or do things incredibly different. And I think you could help us be incredibly different, is what he told me.
I have a question. What are you telling these second graders? A lot of them said, we liked it when you said you were from Mars.
By the way, there's something really cool happening over the next couple of nights, and I'll let you know where to look and what to look for in your Astro Extra coming up at 10 tonight here on the CBS 58 News.
So after Milwaukee, you came to BAY in 2000.
Yep. It was, as I mentioned, it's a new startup. They'd never done news. Resources were thin. It was tough to compete against 2 other stations. You had Paul Joseph, who was like the weather god of Milwaukee. He'd been there forever. He was at Channel 4.
So it's 2000. You're at WBAY. Who's all there? How'd that all come to start?
Listen, I have been incredibly blessed to work with wonderful people. I can say that about the people I worked at WLUK, the people I worked with the first time at WBAY, the people at CBS 58 in Milwaukee, and then when I came back to WBAY in 2000, I mean, I still got to work with, when you look back at history, I worked with Ray Wheeler, I worked with Bob Schultz, I worked with...
you name it.
Yeah, Chuck Ramsey, Mary Smith.
Mary Smith, Tom Zelaski, Chuck Ramsey.
All of them. I really have been lucky.
Yeah.
I really have.
Yeah. You get a challenge, you take it on, you nail it. And it proves that because not only were you a weatherman, but when you had to, you were all of a sudden a special live report.
Coming for this special report from Action 2 News.
Good morning, I'm Brad Spakowitz. All morning long here on Action 2 News, we've been following some breaking news for you. Let me show you what happened. It was a school bus accident.
I was working the morning show doing weather at WBAY, and Kevin Rompa was the morning anchor. And the morning newscast was over, and they sent Kevin out to do a story. All of the other reporters were out doing their stories of the day. It was probably around 9 o'clock in the morning or somewhere in there. And all of a sudden there was a major bus accident with children on board the bus.
So I'd like to go out to Kevin Rompa, who's standing by live at the scene of that accident, because Kevin has some more information for us. Kevin?
Yeah, Brad, those numbers will be very useful because we encountered a number of parents.
And I remember that Tom McCary, he was the news director at Channel 2, my boss, came to me and he said, we have this unfolding breaking news situation. We need to be on air, and there's nobody in the building who can do it. I need you to do this. And believe me, I swallowed hard because it was scary.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin. And just to recap there, we do also have reports now that there were about 30 children that were injured. Several of the children are listed.
It was a horrible event to begin with, but then to have to go out there and try to deliver breaking news on that subject, it was difficult, but I did it.
I mentioned earlier that you've turned weather into weathertainment. And the time you did the Beatles...
You had a little challenge for me during the early years. What was that?
How many Beatles titles of their songs you can come up with during your forecast?
I was at WBAY. ABC was running the Beatles anthology. You might remember they did this whole promo, A Beatles C. But Jeff Alexander was the news anchor, and he had challenged me on air. He said, I want you to find a way to name as many Beatles songs as you can in your weathercast tonight. So I had to work on that. It took a lot of thought.
I have to tell you, some forecasts are easy to put together. This one was really something. Keep track
There
of
we
it
go.
now, okay?
There we go. There's one.
Yeah,
All right.
It's been a hard day's night working on this one. I've been working on this thing 8 days a week. Come on, there's 2 more already. Okay? You get how this goes. I've been working on this since yesterday. I couldn't even do it alone. I had to get by with a little help from my friends. But finally, in the end, I knew it would come together. Are you getting all these? I don't think you are.
That's 6.
I bet our viewers are getting more than you are. But anyways, here's the forecast from me to you.
In between shows, it's like, okay, what cities can I work in there that I can play off the names?
Here's a look at some of the other forecasts for other cities and places across America, like Strawberry Point Fields Forever in California tomorrow. It'll be partly sunny over there and about 72. Eleanor Rigby, Idaho will be about 54 tomorrow with sunshine. I want to hold your hand county, South Dakota, 37 for a high with a partly sunny. How about Let It Be County? Hey, Jeff, by the way, did I tell you? I got a couple of tickets. Would you like a ticket to ride? No? Hey, Jude, would you like a ticket to ride? No? I'll take Michelle. 3 more right there, okay? Otherwise, this cold front is making its way through our neck of the woods. It should actually... Hey, here comes the sun for tomorrow morning early on, and then plenty of clouds.
How many do you think?
Well, I think there should be at least 16 or 17 of them.
18, Brad.
18? But you know what, Jeff? There was one other one, and I wanted to tell you this because this is the truth. You know, when I was little, I did not want to be a weatherman. I wanted to be a paperback writer.
Do you have any troubles?
Try some bubbles, all natural.
Only 5 calories.
Clean, fizzy fun.
There's some more bread cola to come.
Please drink responsibly.
It's time for another clue to this episode's mystery picture. Here is what we know so far. It's made from latex. In ancient times, they were made from animal bladders. In 1824, they were made of natural rubber. In 1847, they were first mass-produced. Modern versions are made of latex. Magicians and entertainers turned them into an art form. Here are the final clues. In the 1970s, they started making them out of mylar because of the material's ability to hold helium. And the art form is also popular with clowns. The answer is coming up. We talked earlier that you were into photography. You loved it from early on. So what are you doing today?
Well, you know, I've dabbled photography and video and film. That all kind of gets molded together over time, especially in this day and age where not only can your digital camera shoot a still, it can shoot video.
Now, you're still working at WBAY. What's going on?
I do a little science segment. It's called 3 Brilliant Minutes. Chris Roth named it. I did not name it. I don't know if I would have named it that. But it's essentially just something interesting in the world of science that people might not have heard about. A lot of them are health findings.
Well, Brad, you followed your own instructions. We have visual proof.
Who comes up with what the topic's going to be?
I do. I do. And here's what I love about it. They've given me complete autonomy. Never once have they said, we want you to do this, and never once have they said, don't ever do this. They trust me enough that I'll find a topic, it'll be in good taste.
Your personal life, you live alone?
I live alone? Kind of. So some friends of mine were living in Tennessee. They had found this dog in a park. It was three months old or there. I never wanted a dog. You've got hair, you've got mud, you've got to pick up poop. I mean, it's just like, I just don't want a dog. Funny story. Friends of mine were living in Tennessee. They had found this dog in a park. It was three months old or thereabouts when they found it. They had it for a couple of years. They decided to move back to Green Bay. I said, I'll take care of the dog until you get squared away. So pretty soon I had the dog for a year, and then it was a year and a half, and it's like, well, I guess I have a dog. But here's what I've learned about the dog. I used to think that animals were stupid, and dogs are incredibly smart. And the thing about it, Doug, is not just their intelligence, it's their personality, their enthusiasm. The biggest takeaway from having had a dog is this. If that animal is this smart, I think most of the other animals on the planet are pretty smart, smarter than we give them credit for. And what are we doing to them? How are we trashing their planet? Because personally, I think they have as much right to the planet as we do.
Scientifically, it's been proven that if humans did not exist on this planet would be pristine, perfect.
The wonderful thing about nature is it does seem to have a beautiful way to balance itself out. People keep messing it up, but on its own, I think it would be doing pretty good. I want to talk a little bit about the nature of the news business and where that's going.
Let's talk about
it. We've all seen what has happened with local news sources like local papers. You know, they've kind of been in a decline because of the digital age. I mean, it has, reshuffled the deck on everything. A lot of radio stations. One just closed down recently. Was it
WNAM?
Yeah. Television stations, in many respects, are experiencing the same thing. So you're getting smaller staffs, less reporting. I'm not sure where that's going. And here's another thought, Doug. There's a big push right now for each station to have their own streaming app. The big push is streaming. Obviously, everything is streaming. This is my complaint about the streaming environment. Every time you want to open a new app, whether it's YouTube or, Paramount Plus or whatever, any of them, it's all the same. Click it. It's loading, it's loading. Oh, there we are. Okay, now I got to navigate through the menu. Unlike the cable environment, where once you turn on your cable box, now it's just flipping through the channels. And they're right there. You don't have to wait for each channel to load, they're right there, okay? That is very convenient. Now, if I want to watch my favorite show in the afternoon and it's on YouTube, okay, now I have to load the YouTube app. Oh, it's 5:30, I want to see David Muir. Oh, I got to load the ABC app. ABC, okay. Oh, I want to watch Channel 2 or I want to watch Fox 11. Oh, I got to open their app. Too much. That just doesn't work for me, and I don't think it's going to work for a lot of people. It's tough.
What's Brad's plans for the future?
What are my plans for the future? Well, first of all, at my age, I always hope that I still have a lot of future ahead of me. You never know. I will tell you this. I don't see myself as the kind of person that'll ever be totally retired. I don't know if I'll still be doing TV or whatever, but I'm always going to have some sort of side job or multiple projects. Like I mentioned before, I can't sit still very long, so
that's why I do this.
Yeah, I think the best thing is just for your head. You just got to keep moving, and you got to keep it going too.
Boy, this has been the best BS I've ever had.
Thank you for having me. This has been great fun.
Thank you for coming to the Ant Cave, and it's been fabulous.
Thank you, Doug.
Good time to chat with you, and I'm sure people are finding out things about you that they never knew
or ever wanted to know. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. It's time for the answer to this episode's mystery picture. It's made of latex. In ancient times, they were made of animal bladders. Then, in 1824, they were made of rubber. In 1847, they were mass-produced. Modern versions are made of latex and mylar. Magicians, clowns, and entertainers turned them into an art form. Are you ready for the answer? It was a balloon sculpture. In this case, a dog balloon sculpture. The art is also known as balloon twisting. Well, I have one more episode coming before I take the summer off. And the next episode, I plan to do something that I have never seen done before. Something no TV show or a movie has ever done. And it involves you. That's going to do it for this episode. A special thanks to Brad for sharing his stories, and a special thanks to you for watching. If you keep watching, I'll keep them coming.
That winter storm system, which passed through our area yesterday, this area, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, is moist, and as a result, we're going to be seeing cloudy skies through tomorrow and plenty of snow, or not plenty of snow, some light snow.
Thank you once again.
This is my son, Doug Hine. I'm so sorry I gave you that name.
It's fine.